Okay, so I'm going to solve two problems here. I'm going to be solving number 2 and 5 from the book, and you guys should be solving 1 and 3. So of course you're solving number 1 from all the chapters, and pay special attention to number 3. Okay, it's a very important problem and also fairly interesting problem. So a lot of you should also enjoy solving it. Uh, I'm going to go ahead with number 2 now. So we have two fictional economies, domestic country and the foreign country. Their transactions are listed A through G. So that's 7 transactions between these two countries. And we have to construct their balance of payment. Okay, that should be interesting. So for both countries, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to construct the balance of payment for domestic country, and you guys then can construct the balance of payment of the foreign country. Okay, so of course we start with the current account. In current account we have export, we have import, and from there we're going to get trade balance. We also have income earned, income paid, and from there we're going to get net income or whatever it's called. I don't really remember. We have transfers, that's foreign aid and whatnot, and all of that together is going to give us the current account balance. Okay. Oh, and under that we write down the entire thing. We have the capital account, where effectively we are going to have domestic holdings of foreign assets, and we are going to have foreign holdings of domestic assets, right? Okay, let's get started. Let's go step by step. So transaction 1, domestic country purchase 100 in oil from foreign country. So this is export for the domestic country, right? 100 in oil. No, sorry, domestic country is purchasing it. So this is import for domestic country. So let's add 100 here for import. And of course, for foreign country, which you guys will do, this will count as export because they're selling it. Part B, foreign tourists spend 25 on domestic ski slopes. So this is foreigners who are coming to your country and they're giving you money. So this is export, 25. Part C, foreign investors were paid 15 dividend for. So this is income that we paid to foreign investors. So income paid, 15. Part D, domestic residents gave 25 to foreign charities. We gave as charity to people in another country. So this is transfer, right? How much did we give? 25. Part E, domestic business borrowed 65 from foreign banks. So when our local banks are borrowing from foreign, local firms are borrowing from foreign banks, that's increasing foreign holding of domestic assets, right? Because these foreigners now owe assets worth 65 to us. So we add 65 here. That's E. If foreign investors purchased 15 of domestic government bonds. So this is also increasing foreign holding of our domestic assets. And finally, we have domestic investors who are selling their holdings. So this is minus 50. So if we are buying assets in a foreign country, that's plus, that would have been plus 50, but this is actually asset that we have, but we are selling off. So domestic holding of foreign assets is going down, so minus 50. Now let's calculate how much we get. So export is 25, import is 100, so we subtract from that. So we have 75 here. We have not earned any income, but we have paid income. So net income is minus 15, and we have transferred 25 to other countries. So minus 25 here. And so what we see when we add up this and this, at the end of the year, we have a current account balance of minus 115. Let's come to the capital account. This is minus 50. Let's put it in bracket, minus 50. And this is effectively minus 80. So when we add it up, we have minus 130. But what are we missing? We are missing statistical discrepancy, right? Calculations will, it's unlikely that these figures will match up. So there's a statistical discrepancy of how much? Of 15. And when we do that, we get 115. And so this figure and this figure matches up. So this was for domestic country. I'll let you guys solve this for the foreign country. Okay. So that was number 2. I'm going to do number 5. It's a fairly interesting problem as well. So let's take a look at number 5. Oh, so what we have is a domestic currency depreciates. So E is going to fall, but we are also told that E and E star are going to remain constant. So let me just write down what these are. This means that domestic currency, what's happening? Depreciating. This is price in the home country, or let's say domestic price. And of course, this is foreign price. I think the yellow is a bit difficult to read, right? Let me change the color. Okay, so let's read the questions partly. How does nominal depreciation affect relative price of domestic goods? How does, okay, relative price of domestic goods? Relative price. Okay, let's talk about relative price. Is effectively price of in our country, price of a good in our country with respect to price in another country. So price in our country is P, and price in another country is P star. Now, if our currency is becoming weaker, suppose we are thinking about Bangladesh and India, okay, and domestic currency is depreciating. That would mean that relative price of relative price of domestic goods is falling. Now, if it's not obvious to all of you why, we can also do it. We can use the formula. Remember, this is equal to E times P by P star, right? And what we know is that this has fallen, but this and this has remained constant. So overall, this is falling. And so that is it. Relative price of, I'm actually just writing it again, I don't know why, of domestic goods is falling. Now, okay, so this may not be immediately obvious to you guys, so do something, just think about this. We've all experienced this. Suppose we're ordering a good online from India or USA, for example. So we're always thinking about the exchange rate and how much that will be. Now, if the exchange rate falls, uh, which means that Taka is becoming weaker, then what does that mean for domestic? Like suppose there's a book available in Bangladesh, and there's also a book, the same book available in India, and they both have different prices, one in Taka and one in rupee. Now, if Taka becomes weaker or rupee becomes stronger, what does that mean for the book in Bangladesh? Think about it, it's very easy to figure out. The equations and everything may be confusing some of you, but if you think about it, it's fairly simple to figure out. So next part of part A, so we've established that price is falling. Given your answer, what effect would nominal depreciation have on demand for domestic good? So what we have established is that relative price is falling. If relative price is falling, then obviously demand for domestic good rises. And we can also say, since demand for domestic good is rising, that means production for domestic goods may go up. We can also say that unemployment uh, may fall, at least in the short term. Okay. So that was part A. Let's move on to part B. Okay, so this question is, what is the price of foreign goods in terms of domestic currency? Oh, that's fairly straightforward. This is the price in foreign country. If we divide it by the exchange rate, we get price of foreign goods in terms of domestic currency. So once again, I think this equation might confuse some people. So just think about, you want to buy something from India, okay? And it's 100 rupees. We're not going to pay it in rupees, right? We're going to pay it in dollar. Sorry, we're going to pay it in Taka. So what do? We just divide this by our exchange rate. So suppose the exchange rate is 0.67. This much Taka per rupee. So as a result, what are we going to get? 2 by 3. We're going to get 150 Taka. So that's effectively it, right? So P star is this, the exchange rate is this, which means that each Taka is worth 0.67 rupee. This is the same amount we had used in the lecture videos, that's why I just used it. And then we find price of a foreign good in terms of domestic currency, price of a good in India in terms of Taka. Straightforward, okay? Okay, so there's still some part of part B left. How does a nominal depreciation affect the domestic consumer price index? Yeah, now this is interesting. Okay, we have experienced uh, a nominal depreciation. Let me write that down. That means that there has been no change in the price level in Bangladesh, but because of nominal depreciation, because of our currency becoming weaker, all goods from India, let's say, are more expensive now. Okay. Because of this, what will happen to our CPI? Remember, CPI is a price index. This is one or two stuff you guys all should remember. Price index of a basket of good consumed in country. What's important is that this is a basket of goods that are consumed. So it can be produced in Bangladesh or produced in some other country, doesn't matter. Anything that is regularly consumed by people may end up in the CPI. And the price of some of these goods that are consumed are becoming more expensive, right? Because price of all Indian goods have gone up in Bangladesh. As a result, so we can write because of nominal depreciation, CPI in Bangladesh will increase. So that's interesting, right? That absolutely nothing has changed in Bangladesh. The price level in Bangladesh of goods in Bangladesh are exactly the same. In fact, even the price level in India is exactly the same. There has been no inflation because notice the question clearly told us that P and P star are constant, they're not changing. However, because there has been a change in the exchange rate, there is going to be a change in the price paid for international goods by Bangladeshi consumers, and as a result, our CPI is going to change. In this case, CPI is going to go up. If there was a nominal appreciation, CPI would have gone down. Right? So this is something you guys should ponder over for a bit. We used to think CPI only changes when there is a change in the price level, but that's not necessarily the truth when we introduce openness to the economy. Okay, so let's come to part C now. Question: if nominal wage remains constant, okay, how does a nominal depreciation affect real wage? Okay, this is also interesting. Nominal wage, let me write this down. Nominal wage is constant. So you are earning 100 taka, you're still earning 100 taka. Okay, there has been no changes in the price level, there has been no changes in the wage. Okay, however, what has happened is because there has been a nominal depreciation, CPI has gone up. If CPI is going up, which means that your cost of living is going up, what does that mean? Real wage falls. I think that's the answer, right? If nominal wage remains constant, how does nominal depreciation affect real wage? Yeah, exactly. So once again, no changes in the price level, no changes in the nominal wage either. However, because of this exchange rate fluctuation, and because we consume a lot of imported goods, our real wages are falling. So once again, because we've introduced openness to the economy, there's no need for price to change. Real wage can still rise or fall. That was part C. Let's move to part D. Comment on the following statement. Okay. A depreciating currency puts domestic labor on sale. Let me write that down. A depreciating currency puts domestic labor on sale. By sale, I mean what they're trying to say is domestic labor is available at a lower price. So it's like when shops are on sale, they give you a discount. So what this statement is effectively telling us that nothing has to change in the wage of the workers, but just because there is a depreciating currency, a nominal depreciation in that currency, domestic labors will become cheaper. And yes, I agree with this statement. We just saw that over here in part C, is that even the nominal wage was constant, because of exchange rate fluctuation, real wage fell. In real terms, workers became cheaper. And of course, this will, you guys can agree that this will increase the demand for workers, this may increase our output, and so on and so forth. But once again, this is very interesting, right? Because nothing is happening to the wages, nothing is happening to price level in the country, but just because something has changed in the international market, internationally, domestic labors are becoming cheaper, which means, I think of the consequences of this. Uh, Suppose a firm is trying to decide whether to build a factory in India or Bangladesh. Because of this nominal depreciation, since real wage has fallen, in real terms, workers in Bangladesh are cheaper. So that guy might decide I should set up my factory in Bangladesh. That's just one consequence. There are many different ways in which this may play out, and I'll request you guys to spend some time thinking about the consequences of these things. So, anyways, that's all the problem I'm solving from this chapter. As I've said already, you guys should solve 1 and 3 with special emphasis on 3. And I think this was okay. So this is just the beginning of our openness chapters. We have 3 more to come. One thing to remember is chapter 17. This chapter is just an introduction. Okay, introduction to openness. We have not done a deep dive into anything. Openness in consumption, we just introduced a few concepts and left it at that. Openness in financial markets, once again, we introduced a few concepts and then we left it at that. We're just slowly, moving towards the analysis that we want to do. In the next 2 chapters, 18 and 19, we're going to go a bit more in depth and figure out what happens when there is openness in the market. Okay, so this is very interesting, especially if you're interested in economics, otherwise probably not. So hopefully this has been an interesting chapter for you guys, right? And I'll see you guys next week when I make videos for chapter 18.